Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Covert, and you are here with us at home with Symphoria. And today I'm so pleased to have our orchestra manager, Jon Mosbo, here with us. Hi, Jon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hi, Kelly.
And we're starting to dig into our staff here in Symphoria, and it's funny because even our staff are all mostly musicians in one way or the other. And so you will often see Jon on stage during concerts playing viola, but where he really is just the most amazing is behind the scenes. So Jon, why don't you tell us a little bit about your job and what you do as orchestra manager?
Well, the short answer is that I'm responsible for all of the chair stands, equipment, light, chairs, percussion instruments, temperature, and all those things that go into what you see when you see the stage without the musicians. Mm-hmm. I'm in charge of everything else but the musicians that's on the stage.
So you're the boss of everything except for the musicians.
Except for the musicians.
And the interesting thing that I think about that is that's something that many musicians as well as audience members kind of take for granted, because you just expect it to look a certain way and you expect it to feel a certain way. Mm-hmm. But I'm guessing that's not how it always happens.
Well, that's always the goal. The goal is to have the musicians just assume that it's always that way. That it'll always be that way. No, they're always, especially in central New York with weather and everything else that goes on, with all the different venues that we go to, making sure that we have a truck, and if we have a truck, that the truck works, that the stagehands are there in time, to load out of the Civic Center, to put in a truck, to get the truck to where it needs to go, and that we're able to load in, that all the paperwork for all the different venues all the I's have been dotted, T's crossed, and so yeah, there's a lot of different things that go into making sure that when the musicians come to show up for either a rehearsal or a concert, that it looks like everything is calm and everything is done, and it's a quiet space for them to come into to get prepared to work.
Mm-hmm. It's sort of the vision that I have is like, you're like a duck, and on top of the water, you're smooth and calm, and underneath the water, you're like, oh my gosh.
Well, what we try to do is actually just be, to paddle quietly as well. But yes, there are times when we have to move a lot faster than we had hoped. Yeah. But yes, absolutely, that is kind of what we do.
Well, so what was one of those times? I know you have fun stories about this, so why don't you give us a peek into what we might not have realized?
Well, fun may be a euphemistic word. There was a well, you would know this time. There are a lot of stories, but I'll go with a more recent one where we had a summer concert at Hamilton College, and I thought I had done due diligence in giving us plenty of time to allow for things to go wrong. We had the truck early. Everything went well. We were there early, and at least I was there early. The stagehands were there. The truck was coming behind, and they ended up, the truck died on them.
Oh, no.
So this was probably like 3 or 4 o'clock. We found this out. Our concert's at 7:30. I had called Ryder. They had another truck delivered to where that other truck was. I sent stagehands back to where the truck had broken down to help, because for summer concerts, we kind of bring the kitchen sink. We have all of our percussion instruments that are in cases. We had chairs, stands, all sorts of things that go on. So all of that had to be emptied from one truck into the other. And that's a time-consuming task. But they were able to do that. We were able to get the truck. The truck showed up, I think, at like 20 minutes to 7. And we had the stage set, and the concert started at 7:35. So that was, I didn't expect that to happen. When that happened, I thought we might have to cancel a concert. What do you do when the truck is, 30 miles away and it's there, and we have to wait for another truck to get there, unload, load, drive to Hamilton? But we pulled it off, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Well, and so I have a funny addition to that story. I was riding with someone else who plays in the orchestra. We like to carpool for away concerts, and she's very organized, and always knows exactly how long it's going to take us to get anywhere. So I just do what she says. You know, she says we're going to leave at 6:18. That's what I do. And so, and it's nice to just sort of not worry about that. So we left and she was driving. She said when we needed to leave. And I didn't, you know, where the concert was, I wasn't like exactly sure how long it took to get there. And so, you know, I'm looking at my watch and it's like 7:00. And then it's like 10 after 7. We're still not there. And I said, you know, how much longer until we get there? And she was like, oh, about 15 minutes. And I was like, you know, the concert starts at 7:30, right? And she was like, oh, I thought it started at 8:00. And so we were like speed demons, mad rush to get there. You know, like as soon as she pulled into the parking spot, we were both like booking it to the stage. Yeah. And then like chairs were still being put up on the stage, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, thank God!"
Yeah, that was I was really happy when that was that we were able to get that done, because I wasn't sure how that was going to work. Anyway,
well, so it was a blessing in disguise for at least 2 orchestra members that night, who otherwise would have been the very last people on stage. It's funny the way things work out. Well, so I think when I think about professions, orchestra manager is not something that I would, you know, like first think like that's what I want to grow up and be, because like you say, it's something that's sort of behind the scenes. Like we don't always even know what that is. And I wonder how you came to that position.
Well, I was studying viola, and I got a degree in philosophy from Colgate, and then I decided to go back to music. I'd gone to Interlochen Arts Academy and studied with David Holland there. So I decided I was going to get back to that. And so I was studying in New York with Toby Apple, and I needed to support myself. And I ended up bartending. And that was perhaps a dangerous job for me. No, it was a dangerous job for me to have. But one of the things I kind of learned to do there is I learned how to throw a party, right? How to organize things and throw a party. But that had run its course. A friend of mine who was with the Savannah Symphony called me to tell me both that he was engaged and invited me to his wedding. And I said yes. This was the second weekend of September. And so I went to his wedding, had a great time. And then he also said, oh, by the way, I have a job for you here. Would you be interested in being the librarian? And I said, sure. I know I was ready to do something new. And so I did. And on my way I met with the executive director, Paul Chambers, recently deceased Paul Chambers. And on my way to sign the contract, I heard that there were no flights leaving Savannah or going into New York because a plane hit the Twin Towers.
Oh, wow.
So I signed my contract on September 11th, 2001.
Wow.
I'll always remember that. That was a sad thing. But anyway, that was what I was stuck in Savannah for a week. But that's how I got the job. And then I had that for a year. And then the position of director of operations opened up, and I took that. And that's when I figured out that this suited me well, you know, because I could work with the people who ran the venues and stuff like that, stagehands. I had a rapport with stagehands, but I also understood the musician needs and stuff like that. So I could talk to a myriad of different kinds of people, and I sort of felt, and that just felt really comfortable, you know, that it felt really nice. And then a position in Syracuse opened up, and since then that's where I'm from, or the Syracuse area. And so I came up and interviewed with everybody, Dick Decker and Greg Quick and everybody on there, and Jeff Caminesi at the time, and they hired me, and I came up here. And so that was in 2003, I think. So I was here until 11, and then I went and worked for other orchestras, and then I came home about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're glad that you did.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, I often think what I love about you and the way that you do your job is like you're so zen about everything. Like I never know if anything's going wrong. And as a musician, that I really count on that, because I need to be calm and be prepared and be getting in my own headspace. And if I have a tendency to get distracted by other emergencies, and so I never am even aware if there is one. And I thank you kindly for that.
No, and I take a lot of pride and pleasure in doing that, because I know that it's not easy being a professional musician when you know the music is hard, and you have to perform that, and it's a great thing that's being produced too. We're recreating the some of the best art that's out there, and I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of that.
So as a musician, and you do play, and that's another thing that amazes me, of how you can be doing all of your operations things and then just come pick up your viola and play. Always impressive.
It's sort of like rushing through dinner to get to dessert. That's what
that's a nice way to think of it. Well, so are you practicing anything right now?
Truthfully, not as much as I should. However, Ernie Muski's a percussionist, gave me a piece of music a while ago, and I'm revisiting it now. This is a Telemann, and we talked about this earlier. It's a Telemann Fantasia in F sharp minor. He said, Telemann F sharp minor? He wrote that for a flute. So
he did write it for a flute. Yeah, it's one of my favorite though. It's beautiful.
Also, thank you to our Viola, our personnel manager and acting principal violist, who did some helped edit that, from what I understand. So
there might be a couple of things different than the flute version.
A couple of things, maybe a couple of things. So thank you for that, Arvilla.
Yes, thank you, Arvilla. So you're at home these days, up in Oswego, so not having to drive quite as much as you normally do. What are some things that you're listening to while you're at home?
Well, that's a good question. I have a myriad of a wide taste in music.
I love this about people.
So it can go from Johnny Cash, Beethoven, especially the Opus 59 quartets, the Razumovsky quartets. Let's see what else. 90s hip hop.
Oh, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah.
Do you dance to it?
No, I show proper respect by not dancing.
Okay, good to know. So Beethoven string quartets. Actually, I've been in the office with you before when you are indulging.
You tell me to turn it off.
Some Beethoven string quartets.
I don't hear a flute.
No, I would never say that. So, we have a lot going on in our world and in our community right now. And before we got on, we just wanted to take a moment to just acknowledge that things are not normal right now. And Jon, tell us a little bit about how you're sort of sitting inside of all of this.
That's a good question. It's obviously disheartening, at the very least. It seems surreal, to all of a sudden be locked in, and then to have what happened in Minneapolis happen. And obviously it's been happening a lot of other places.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of, or a lot of, I should say, thinking, what's it? I don't know a better way of putting it, but it's definitely a concern, and how do we move forward in a way that benefits all of us, especially those people that have been the most hurt by all of this. That needs to change, and it needs to change in a hurry, because there's no reason for it.
And we just want to let all of you who are watching and listening know that this is something on our hearts as an organization. And we're having discussions about our role that we play in our community as people, as individuals, and as an organization that stands in solidarity and in belief that Black lives really do matter. And it is important that we highlight that today. So thank you, Jon, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And I know it's not easy to do that, especially live.
Yeah.
We do have some people visiting over in the comments today. Vicky Feldman is here, one of our super fans, and Noemi.
Vicky, how are you?
Noemi wanted to remind everyone what a wonderful violist that you are. And
I had a chance to play a quartet with her, and that was really cool. I have to say that was a lot of fun.
And Susan French is here, one of our violinists.
Oh yeah, Susan.
She calls you the king of switch hitting. You know, just change that hat and put on a tie and a jacket, and you're good to go, right?
Something like that. Sometimes that's what it is. So quick, I gotta change.
Yeah. So we do have lightning round questions that I want to get to, and these were provided by another violist, Brandon Gianetto, who I interviewed last Thursday, and he sent these over just for you, Jon. Are you ready?
Fantastic. No, I'm not.
You're not? Okay, well, too bad. Here we go. What is your dream dog breed? Like, if you could have any dog, what would that be?
Oh, Great Dane.
Really?
Oh, Great Dane and a Greyhound.
Big dogs, big and fast. Yeah, Great Danes. They're ginormous and slobbery.
But, well, yeah, definitely one of those. Yeah, if I could, that's what I would have.
Oh, okay. See, I'm so glad to know that about you now. What is the most fun viola part, orchestral viola part that you've ever played?
Well, the Bruckner one was kind of nice that we did this past season.
Oh, really? That's surprising.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Oh, yeah. That was, yeah.
Lots of tremolo, I know.
Well, that one, we also had the one that we got way up high, and we actually, as a section, we played it really well, too.
Oh, right. You had a little pretending you were violins for a moment.
Yeah, exactly. So then, because that's the most, I remember doing, we nailed that then. That felt really good.
Yeah. So, good. I love it when that happens. What's your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's once again, excellent question. Some of it depends on the quality of what it is, but I would always probably lean toward cheesecake. But ice cream, depending on what kind of ice cream it is, that could be really good too. Yeah, I'd have to say that.
Well, and I think everyone might be interested to know that at the Symphoria office, when we're there, we haven't been in a while, we have a candy jar.
Yes.
And Jon takes it upon himself to fill it very often. So we're thankful for that.
Yeah, and high end too. Don't forget that.
I know.
We don't
doesn't fool around. He gets the good stuff. What is your favorite Syracuse restaurant?
Well, it's Dinosaur. It's not just there was a history of fond memories of things that have happened at the Dinosaur. It's
And that's often a place that you take our guest artists after concerts, right?
It is, right. It is that it started, I think it was January 2004. I needed to find a place for Rich Little and his entourage. Needed to go out to eat after a concert, and everything at 10 o'clock is closed in Syracuse. So, and Dinosaur doesn't take reservations, but I called, and I guess sounded really, really needy and pathetic because Anna took pity on me and found a way for me to bring Rich Little and his entourage to Dinosaur, where they then sung "Happy Birthday" to me. It was my birthday today. So Rich Little and his entourage sang "Happy Birthday" to me.
And
that was the first time. Yeah, so that was kind of a fun.
That's fantastic. Well, and Jon has a really special gift whenever I need to talk to someone to set something up at a hotel or a restaurant or whatever. He's the person I go to. He knows everybody, and he's friends with everybody. So I appreciate that. Okay, last one.
Go.
bike ride or a round of golf?
I found that they go really well together.
See, that's cheating. You have to pick one. Sorry.
That's a tough one. Well, if I'm not swinging the club well, bicycling, absolutely. But if I'm hitting the ball well, then yeah, I'm going to have to go with golf.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. I still think you cheated a little bit on that, but I'll let it go.
I took your question. I just made it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. I see how it is. Okay. Well, Jon, thank you for all you do for Symphoria. We really could not have the product that we put on stage without you and your crew. And I just want to acknowledge that in such a big way right now. People think it's just about the music, but there's a whole lot more underneath the smooth water.
Underneath the smooth water. Well, I have to say that I've always really enjoyed doing this. I think the musicians with Old Syracuse Symphony and Symphoria are great. They're a pleasure to work with, and it's an honor to be able to do what I do so that they can do what they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate you. And now all of you know the secrets of Jon Mosbo, our orchestra manager. And he's going to be writing our lightning round questions for our next interviewee, who is violinist Margie Cooper. And she's going to be joining us on Thursday at 12:30. So be sure to tune in for that. And in the meantime, just stay connected to your email and to Facebook for all of our upcoming events and other announcements that we have. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kelly.